Good morning, good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to Starting the Day the Right Way for July 31st, 2020 is last day of July, and it's a Friday. What more could you want? All right, so we're running a little late today. Again, we had some family priorities that had to take place before this 5-minute devotion, but at any rate, me and my son were watching an episode of Superbook, okay, which is a Christian series with a bunch of different Bible stories and that they represent it. But I love and he loves most of all, which is great. You know, he wants to watch it, but the characters are very engaging and he relates to all the characters, but it's also very realistic. So the story we were looking into is David and Goliath. Now, everybody, hopefully, many people have heard of the story of David and Goliath. And so the way they represented it, obviously, Goliath was this huge, menacing figure, you know, and David was this teenager. And he said, "Dad, if I was David, I would run away. I would be too scared." Now, you know, we've gone over verses of fear, and we've taught him verses of fear. And I asked him, I said, "Well, what does the Bible say about fear?" And he, you know, rattled off a couple of verses that, you know, we had taught him. I said, "Well, that now has to go from your head to your heart, and you have to fully believe it." I said the story is in there for a couple of reasons. It's to show us God working through David, through this young boy, and defeating what seemed like an impossible feat. But it's also in there so that we can relate to the different characters and that we can take what they did and apply it to our lives. And so he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" So the verse that immediately came to my mind was Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. Okay. And the New Living Translation puts it like this. Okay. "My old self has been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. So I live in this earthly body, by trusting in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me." Okay. Now, just to get a little bit deeper into that, if we go over back to John, and this is specifically Jesus talking, Jesus says, "I tell you the truth. Anyone who believes in me will do the same works I have done and even greater works because I am going to be with the Father." Verse 13 goes on to say, "You can ask anything in my name and I will do it so that the Son can bring glory to the Father. Yes, ask me for anything in my name and I will do it." Okay. Now there's a lot behind that. Okay. Think about what our Savior said. He said that "I tell you the truth. Anyone who believes in me will do the same works that I have done." So what did Jesus do? Gave people hearing, gave people sight, gave people voice, raised people from the dead. Okay. Is that operating in anybody's lives today? Right. Okay. I'm excited to have that operating in my life. Are you? I hope so. Okay. And he said that we would do greater things than him. Those are the things that he did. I don't even know what that means. Raising somebody from the dead is pretty great. But Jesus said we would do greater things than him. So in relating that back to my son, I said, listen, okay, Jesus lives inside of you. And, you know, he's 8, so he's still comprehending everything. And, you know, he asked, well, he said, "Dad, when was God born?" And I said, "Well, God has always been." And he was like, "Dad, I don't understand that." I said, "It's okay. Neither do I." But what we need to do, we need to get a hold of what it means that Christ lives on the inside of us. Okay. How did Christ act? Okay. What did he do? He was in constant communion with the Father. That constant communion with the Father allowed him to work the miracles that he worked, but he also showed compassion to people, understanding to people. He looked into people's eyes and people's hearts. Okay. We need to get that inside of us. We need to know that Christ lives inside of us, the living Christ that lives inside of us. Those attributes, those things that Christ did, needs to come out in our lives, right? So if we're spouting hate and accusation, That's not Christ-like. Okay? Love, patience, kindness, these are things that Christ exhibited. Okay? It's a 5-minute devotional. I could get so much deeper into this, but this is just meant, hopefully, to get you guys thinking. All right? So that will be a close for today. Have an awesome weekend. And tomorrow is August. I mean, with everything going on, I can't believe that we are flying through this year again. I think as we get older, the year flies more. Anyway, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.